Next, this summer, we've already seen several spells of temperatures into the 30s, and heat waves are expected to become more common with our changing climate. It means London will need to adapt to hotter weather. We know that other cities in the world are already used to living with the heat, so what can our capital learn from them? BBC London's environment correspondent Tom Edwards has been finding out.
More extreme heat in London, and with climate change, heat waves and higher temperatures are going to become more common. Experts say this is the new normal.
Summer is going to feel longer, and we're looking in some places at heat waves of 40, 45 degrees, almost 50 degrees temperature, probably more than that in the next 20 years. And we're looking at that being completely normal, by the end of the century if we don't act on climate change right now.
Southern Europe is used to high temperatures. Shuttered homes here keeps the heat out. So could London learn from what they do here? What you notice when you come to places like Portugal, it's currently 34 degrees here, is shade and trees are a lot more prevalent, and they are factored in to the design of their cities. This is Seville in Spain, also known as being in the Iberian oven, and it regularly has temperatures over 40 degrees. And here they're having to take extra measures to deal with the extreme heat. Here they name heat waves to raise awareness. Shade is a necessity. Awnings are draped across busy shopping streets. Cafes have water misters so customers can keep cool. And the locals don't tend to go out when the heat is at its peak.
Heat is called the silent killer, and that is because of a couple of factors. One is the low awareness of the risks of high ambient temperature. The numbers of people who die needlessly in heat waves is quite high. In fact, almost all deaths in a heat wave are potentially preventable.
Experts say London needs a change in attitude to extreme heat, and we can learn from hotter parts of the world.
In some hottest hours of a day, they pause some of the activities and then they resume it in the evening. Or when you walk into a street during the day, when sun is out, they never open the windows. Windows are shut, curtains are shut, so they don't invite more heat to their home. And they use night for ventilation. So these simple changing behavior, changing routine can reduce the impact of it. This is how we can learn from these countries.
Since the 40 degrees of 2022, City Hall says the capital is getting better at preparing for extreme heat.
First thing we're doing is we published a cool spaces map to make sure that we're signposting residents to cool spaces like community centres, libraries, places where they can go to get shade and make sure that they're remaining cool. The second thing that we're doing is making sure that we've got much more water refill points, so over 4,000 across the city, over 100 water fountains, making sure Londoners are staying hydrated. Our tree planting programme, especially on our streets to help create that shade, the mayor's planted over 600,000 trees across the city since 2016.
London will have to get used to the new normal, and that will mean changes in how we deal with it and our attitudes to extreme heat. Tom Edwards, BBC London.
Well, there may have been a spot of rain this evening where you are, but it's still warm out there. And yesterday's temperatures topped 30 degrees, prompting both an air pollution and heat health alert. As it gets hotter again over the next couple of days, people often head towards water to cool off. Let's join Alice Bandukravi, who's by the river in southwest London for us this evening. Hi, Alice.
Hi, Riz. You wouldn't necessarily know it from the weather this evening, but this is a very busy place on a hot summer's evening, and you can see why. It's very attractive and the weather has been very hot. So people do tend to head to the Thames, but there are dangers, hidden dangers in the water that Matt Allchurch can tell us about. You're a busy lifeboat station here in Teddington. You get called out more than 100 times a year. Why is it so popular, this stretch of water, and what are the hidden perils?
Well, you can see it's a very beautiful bit of river. It's high tide at the moment, but when the tide is out, there are beaches that are uncovered all along the opposite side of the bank in amongst the trees there. So it's a lovely place for the kids to come to when it's hot. And to be honest with you, it's perfectly safe if they stay in the shallows close to the beach, but very often they are tempted to swim across the river and back again, and that's usually when they get in trouble.
And so what happens? What is the problem with swimming across, especially if some of them might feel that they're strong swimmers?
Well, the top of the river is warmer, underneath it's colder, and you can get what's called cold water shock, which is where all the blood goes into your core, so it comes out of your arms and your legs, and you lose the ability to swim. And very often it's on the way back to the beach that they get in trouble. And very sadly, we've lost young people who are good swimmers, but they get cold water shock. And
does it tend to be young people taking these kinds of risks?
It's very often teenagers, and they come to the river en masse. To a certain extent, it's a rite of passage, and they dare each other to do things, jumping off structures.
And so what is your advice to people watching, either those who might be tempted to get in the water or people who see people in trouble in the water? What's the best thing for them to do?
So dial 999, ask for the Coast Guard, or at least tell the emergency services that someone's in trouble on the water. Try and get a throw line. So
one there, yeah.
There are boards all along the river provided by the local council with these throw lines in, and you can use these to throw to someone who's in trouble, and then you can pull them in. But make sure you dial 999 first, keep an eye on them, and tell the emergency services the location.
Valuable information. Matt Walchurch, thank you so much, and particularly useful information given that we know that the weather is going to be heating up over the next few days. Riz.
Alice, thank you.